To broaden our discussion, we sat down with 4 Marshalltown High School students, all with varied interests and backgrounds. Now, each has their own opinion about bullying, both in their school hallways and beyond. How many of you in your lifetime have been bullied? Raise your hand. Anything specific that stands out or a certain reason that you've been bullied?
I grew up with a mom who was a teacher, so I very much knew what teachers expected out of their students. So I kind of grew up being a respectful student, and I guess I kind of got picked on for being a teacher's pet year after year, which isn't really hardcore bullying, but just something that started, or that's when the bullying started.
Trey, you're new to this school.
Yes.
You're a freshman. You were in Texas before. Explain your situation there to here.
There, it was a lot of, you know, you're gay, nobody likes you and stuff like that, and nobody would talk to me. I had no friends, family, and it was just difficult. And then I got here, and it wasn't as bad. It was a little bit better, but I still had some bullying at sometimes, and I still do sometimes. But it's gotten a lot better.
Nicole, do you think bullying is an issue that everybody knows about, goes on, and now is doing something about, or are they ignoring it?
I think that there are some people that acknowledge that bullying is an issue, and there are some people that do not recognize it. It's just an ongoing issue that people need to be aware of, and they need to realize the consequences that can come from it. People need to personally think about themselves and how they've felt when they have been bullied, because I truly believe everyone's been bullied at least once in their life.
You're not that far removed from elementary school or middle school. You've only been in high school here a couple of years. How has that discussion changed for you in your school involvement?
When I was in elementary school, it was more of name calling and just, you know, kid things, but I mean, bullying has always been more than just a kid thing. And then getting into intermediate and middle school, it becomes much harsher and much more in your face and physical.
Does it only take place inside of the school, Libby?
No. I think in some ways it's almost, there is a lot going on in school, but kids are almost more hesitant in school, whereas outside of school they can do things with almost no retribution for it or somebody calling them out for it, such as cyberbullying or simply just bullying in general.
I think wherever there's activities going on, personally, I know that different activities I've been in that are outside of school, there's been times where I've been bullied.
I think it's easier to do it over the internet or with social media because you don't have to face them. You can just type it and it's out there and it's done. And where at school you have to look at them and say something. You don't have to look them in the eye. You don't have to see what their facial expression, their reaction is once they read it. It's just, you've said it and that's it.
What does bullying look like to you, Trey?
To me, most of the time it looks to me as mentally erupting. The people, they think they can just call your names. Sensitive people like me, they call the people names and it hits them really hard.
What's not being discussed about bullying that should be in your eyes?
Everyone thinks of it as students bullying other students, but from personal experience, we need to remember that adults can do it too, and that's just as big of an issue.
There's people that are like, oh, my child would never be bullied, everything's fine, it's all right. But in reality, there is people that are bullied every single day. Some people might think that our school is the best school ever. I personally do too, but it's just, as far as bullying, I know that it goes on, and there's other people that aren't aware of it though. And it's just something that needs to be brought to everyone's attention, that it does happen.
So do you think that sensitive kids are the ones picked on the most?
From what I've noticed, yes and no.
All of us are pretty loud-mouthed. We're able to talk about things, and I mean, we're just open with everything. And the fact that all 4 of us have been bullied, I think that just shows that it's not only sensitive students, it's also those who have the ability to speak up and say something. I mean, it just depends.
So Trey talks about the verbal assaults, and
Yes.
does that still happen? I mean, is it just one word? Is it a sentence? What does it look like when it's happening?
I think that if you purposely target a person and it's constant that you target a person, it can be considered bullying. And I think when there's one thing that might be said, I think that's more of just you're mad, you're just releasing anger, and you're taking it out on someone, which is very wrong. But I do know that I don't believe that that's bullying when it's just a comment.
And going along with what she said, bullying to me is when you have the intention of hurting someone's feelings or bringing them down. And I know I've been joking around with friends, and if I hurt their feelings on accident, I don't mean to, and I always apologize, but I've never purposely set out to make someone's day miserable or something.
Yeah.
But do you think a bully knows that they're the bully?
I don't think so. I think that it just spurs from a place of their own insecurities, and then they take that out on other people, but don't see it as bullying. They just see it as the way they live their lives.
I'm actually going to disagree with Libby.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I know from my personal experiences, there's been people that I have stood up to and I have said, look, you need to stop, and it won't stop. I mean, things that started in 5th grade in elementary school are still going on today as a senior.
And going along with that, the hardest part is after you call them out and they won't admit it. I know for me that's been the most frustrating part of it.
Yeah, just there's a lot of different things. It could be a teacher, it could be an adult, it could be a kid. They really don't want to accept the fact that they're doing it. And when they do accept it, then they get really upset, and then they continue because they're really upset about it. So they're just going to continue to do it.
All right, so do the programs work to stop this behavior? How do you stop it? How do you stop the cycle?
I do believe that it starts with individuals because Rachel, moved so many people just by standing up for other kids. And while it does start with the individual, there's only so much that one person can do. But I believe that Rachel kind of led by example, which is something that each student here can take on and just spread kindness and compassion where they can, and hopefully that can be picked up by others.
That brings me to where I want to go next, bully bystander. Who's been a bystander before? You don't stand up every time. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. Why? Why is it harder to be the upstander than the bystander?
I think it's scary sometimes because you feel like you don't want to involve yourself in a situation that doesn't concern you, but in the end it really does.
Right? Libby mentioned social media earlier, or at least the cyberbullying. Who thinks it's easier to be a bully via your Twitter or your Facebook or your Instagram account? Yeah. Who thinks that that's ever going to stop? What's it going to take? Where does the social media police, the Twitter police come along and say, stop? Where does that happen for you, Rachel?
I don't think there is a way to stop it completely, just because it's online. There's nothing, once it's out there, it's out there. There's nothing really you can do about it. And I know laws are trying to be passed about it, but once again, there's only so much that can be done with it. So it's sad, but I don't think there really is a way to eliminate it completely.
I know from my personal experiences, I've been cyberbullied before, and I do know that I just took it to administration, and the officer here at the school had then gotten involved, and I think it's just really up to that person that's being cyberbullied to, I know that it can be scary for them, but it's up to them to go and say something.
Send me a positive message to someone who's been a victim.
I would just say stay strong and find a good support system, and eventually it'll all work out in the end.
Always know that there's someone there for you. You might not know it, but there always, always, always is one person there for you that will help you.
Yeah, there's always one person that's gonna be there for you, whether it be a friend or a family member.
Most of the time, kids who are bullied feel like they're alone, and they never should. Like these guys said, you will always have somebody there for you.
All right, Libby, let's fix this problem. How are we going to do it? Start with the student end. How do things change here at Marshalltown?
I think it doesn't take just one person, but when one person has the voice and the courage to speak up and say, this is a matter that is a huge deal and needs to be fixed. And if they have enough power to get other kids involved, I'm going to use the word chain reaction. It is a chain reaction, and just the more people that get involved and speak out against bullying is hopefully how you can fix it.
It is like a chain reaction. I mean, if one person could start it, more people will follow. If they have friends, friends will follow friends.
Eventually, anti-bullying will become the new cool thing, and the bullies will just be left off to the side. So that's hopefully what I think will happen here at Marshalltown.
Like both of them have said, it takes one person to make a change. I mean, you throw a pebble in the water and there's ripples. And that's exactly what students can do, is they can be that pebble, start making ripples along the school to just start this chain reaction. It changes everything.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Libby. Thank you so very much for your time today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks.